All right. Hello, Survival Challenge family and fans alike. If you don't already know, I am Season 9 finalist and Season 10 live stream co-host, Isaiah Kidd. Our 10th season is just around the corner, and this year we wanted to do something new and touch base with our new group of contestants before the challenge begins in order to get their thoughts and hear how they are getting ready for this season. With that being said, let's get to know our players. Okay, so what is your name? Where are you from? What do you do for a living? And how did you hear about Survival Challenge?
Okay, so my name is Alejandro Rico, or Ale. I am originally from Distrito Federal, Mexico, which is Mexico. But currently I live in Iowa City, Iowa, where I work as a hall coordinator for the University of Iowa. And then the other question was, how did I hear about Survival Challenge? I've had a couple of friends who have played the Survival Challenge before. Funny enough, one of my friends, Bryce, played a season, and then I matched with someone on Tinder, and then Evan, his name's Evan, I think, and he was like, you need to do this, and I always was like, absolutely fucking not, like, there's no way. Like, I was like, I'm excited, but also like, oh, like, this just feels like, I don't know if I can do it, like, you know, all that. I was also in grad school, and then the last 2 seasons I've had friends who have played as well, who have been like, oh, like, you should do this, and like, I've met other people who have played before, so like, I feel like I know a couple of people who have had the experience, and everyone's always like, you need to do it, like, you would really like it. And 2 years ago I did a different game, I guess, LRG, I think, right? Yeah, I did another one, and then I was like, well, the next one needs to be Survival Challenge, because I keep hearing that everyone, like, they are really, with their casting, like, make sure like no one knows anyone and anyone. So I was like, I need to make sure that before I start playing a lot more, I do the one where I could get caught just from like playing too many or knowing too many people. So last year, actually, I was an alternate, so I was supposed to play with you. Well, not supposed to, I was an alternate. So, like, not really. But, I mean, yeah, I was supposed to, and then this year, I'm here, so, yeah.
Awesome. All right. So what are you currently doing to prepare yourself for Survival Challenge?
Oh, well, I've been working out a lot more. I've always been pretty, like, fit, and like, you know, like, I enjoy hiking and soccer and stuff like that, but I've been trying to train more. I joined CrossFit for a second, and then I got COVID, and then that didn't, I was like, oh, I don't want to go back. Like, I wanted to go back, but then I was like, oh, I missed so much, like, it's gonna look so lame, so I never did. I've been, the last 2 weeks, I've been doing a lot of like running and more like physical stuff, because I have small arms. So I was like, let me get a little bit stronger with that. Like, I know I can run, I know I can do like certain things. I've been trying to study some of, like, I know that there's the one puzzle that is in every single season. I am colorblind, so I'm trying to learn the shapes so I cannot rely on the colors and stuff like that. So I've been trying to, like, and then I'm planning on doing a lot more research around, like, I know there's a couple of challenges I've been doing. I know that there's one where, like, just like in the show, like, they hold like the coconuts, so people are like tossing them. I used to play basketball, I'm pretty good at that, but I've been trying to also do the holding at the gym, just with weights, and it's not going great. I'm not even gonna lie, but I'm trying. The one thing that I cannot practice that I know I need to is fire making, because I do live in a college campus. So there's literally no place for me to like do that, and I don't have a car to go to like a park or something like that to do that. Also, like, you shouldn't be starting fires in a park, so I think that's like just probably going to be a lot of YouTube video watching and hope that it translates to real life. I think that's kind of like the more like physical challenge aspect. I obviously talked to my therapist about it, because I am an introvert, and I'm a pretty socially anxious person, I would say, especially like meeting a lot of people. I have an accent, I'm from a different country, you know, like, I think identities play a really big role. I'm deaf in one of my ears. So like, I think there's a lot of anxiety going into it, being like, well, what if they see this? Like, they see my hearing aid and they're like, hey, this person cannot do it. I'm also colorblind, right? Like, one of my nieces, I have to wear like a knee brace. Like, I'm white passing, but I'm Mexican, I'm a person of color. So like, there's all this different identities that I'm like trying to kind of like wrestle with and try to think about, like, how is this going to impact my experience? Because like, it is, right? Like, I think we've seen that the past few seasons, like, there's been like a more diverse cast the last 2 seasons specifically, right? But still, like, who knows who will pull up the season? Who knows who's going to be there? Like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to be there with someone who like just hates immigrants, right? And having to like pivot from that, and like some of the things like they might not be able to know or like to tell that I'm a person of color from like looking at me because I am white passing, but like that is a big part of my identity, right? Like being Mexican is a big part of my identity. Like it's important for me to represent for all that, and I think it's like trying to prepare myself mentally and socially for those situations as well. Yeah, sorry, I'm really long-winded with everything.
You're good, no worries. It's all good. You can go on a tangent, you can go on a tangent. It's all going to get edited down next. Okay. All right. So, what would you say that your strengths and your weaknesses are going to be with respect to Survival Challenge?
My anxiety is definitely a weakness. I think there's so I work for a college campus, like I said. I know that a lot of my coworkers are going to be watching. Some of my students are going to be watching, like a lot of people that I really care about. And I think that pressure is both a motivation, but also like a lot of like that pressure of like, shit, I need to like make it happen, right? Like I don't want to look foolish in front of the students that look up to me, right? Like I don't want to like come back and then be like, ooh, you were like lasted like half a day, like that. I think that would be really difficult. So I think having to battle with those like voices and demons and stuff like that, I think is one of the things that could hold me back potentially. I think also like the fact that I did another game and like it didn't go great, right? Like I think that also could be some of those things of like overcompensating from like the things that happened last time and stuff like that. So I'm trying to like not think about it. In terms of strengths, like, I mean, again, I'm used to working with like really diverse groups of people. I work at a college campus, specifically the building that I work with. It's a lot of like students from more privileged backgrounds, like white, cisgender, straight students, rich students, which is not who I am at all, completely opposite. But that also like that helps me relate to people who are completely different than me, but also find community with the people who have other identities that are more similar, have marginalized identities. Like a lot of my students of color and a lot of the people that I know with like different marginalized identities, like disabilities, sexual orientation, stuff like that, like they're able to also be like, hey, you have something in common with me, like we can do this. I think that's going to be a strength to be able to connect with different people who are really different than me. I definitely just have to, I think one of the things is having to go in and like be more extroverted at the beginning, right? Like you don't want to be the person that's like, oh, not talking to anyone and stuff like that. And like I am someone culturally in Mexico, like you basically don't join a conversation unless people ask you to join, right? Like you're not someone who speaks up if other people are speaking, like all these different things that I was raised with and I have been doing for like 30 plus years of my life, having to like, that's not something that you can do in Survival Challenge, right? Like I cannot just be like, oh, they're having a conversation, like me, like just stand here by myself, like, well, they're probably talking about voting me out, right? So having to break those things that I have really ingrained in me and having to step away from all that, right? And having to do that. But I think those could be some weaknesses. Strengths, hopefully the challengers, not puzzles. Puzzles, again, colorblind, deaf in one ear. Anything that has to do with colors, so you're like listening, probably not for me, not my thing. But I'm pretty fast. I'm decently strong. I'm pretty tall. Like I'm 6'3", so I know that. I remember last season, like some of the tall guys were able to like lift people up or like do certain things and stuff like that. So I hope that will also come. I'm also really used to working in a team, so I'm hoping that for that, like I'm able like to be that person that is pretty positive and it's like, hey, like we can do this, like even if we're behind and stuff like that, which I know can sometimes really change the flow of the challenge if someone's like pushing you forward and like sort of yelling at you or anything like that. So I think that could be some really good strengths, at least for the tribal side. When we get to individual, hopefully if I get there, I have absolutely no idea. We'll see what fucking happens at that point. But I feel comfortable with like the team side, I think, for that, but individual, probably not.
Awesome. Okay, and the last question. What do you think your season is going to look like, and or what are you expecting to happen possibly?
I have absolutely no idea. I mean, I know that there's some like typical challenges that happen, certain things that happen, right? Like there's idols and there's tribes and there's swaps. Like there's certain things that are like really standard for both Survivor and the Survival Challenge, right? So like I'm expecting all those things. I know that sometimes there's like last season we had some Survivor players. Past seasons have had that. Others have not. I'm hoping that there's some. Not big names though, because that's like that's a really easy steamroll me, right? But like I think it'll be cool to have someone who has been on the show. Do I expect it? I'm not sure. I think maybe, but it's hard to know because I know that it's depending on like their availability, they show up and all that stuff. Right? I did have a dream that Luis Torres was in the season and we were at tribal council speaking Spanish. So who knows? Maybe I just put that out in the universe. Maybe that happened, right? But I think that would be cool. I don't know if I'm expecting it though. I almost feel like there's probably not going to be any, just because I know that the season before and a couple of the other seasons have had a lot of trouble getting them there. So I almost expect there to be none. I'm sure there's going to be some kind of crazy idol thing like in the past seasons that was like a tribal in different places, like we're having to sacrifice things at the challengers. Like, like I know there's going to be some kind of stuff like that. So again, we're going to have to keep my one ear open and make my eyes peeled and figure that out too. But I don't know if there's any, I'm trying not to put any big expectations on it. Because I think if you go in and you're like, I'm expecting this, you're not adapting. And I want to be able to adapt to like whatever John and the team is going to be throwing at us. Because I'm really stubborn. So if I'm like, no, there's going to be a swap at this time, I know that it's just going to be like, I'm expecting it. Like that's something that happened last time that I played. I was expecting a swap at some point. There was not, and I would vote out with an idol because I was like, oh, they're going to keep me because we have a swap coming up. There wasn't. So I need to not expect things. I need to kind of just like be in the moment and just roll with the punches. So.
Hello, my name is Allison Boise. I am 33 years old. I currently live in Worcester, Massachusetts. I'm from Templeton, Massachusetts, which is a super small town in the woods. I am a server at 2 restaurants. I'm part-time ABA paraprofessional in a high school, and I also sing in nursing homes and assisted living facilities. So I'm very busy. And I heard about Survival Challenge through the org and LRG world. I've been playing orgs for the past 2 years, and I have 2 LRGs under my belt now. So this will be my 3rd, and I'm super excited for it.
Awesome. All right. So what are you currently doing to prepare yourself for Survival Challenge?
To prepare myself, I am just getting more nervous every day. I have had a Survivor-related dream every night for like the past 2 weeks. Probably because I've been watching random clips of various seasons of Survival Challenge. I have never watched a full season. I know of people from certain seasons, so I'm just kind of skipping around, and it's definitely helped in terms of getting the layout of how the days will work. I think I know they're going to be intense, but I feel like that's been helpful. And I just downloaded a puzzle app, and it is not going well at all.
Awesome. Okay. So what would you say that your strengths and weaknesses are going to be with respect to Survival Challenge?
I feel that my strengths will definitely be in the more physical challenges. I'm small, but pretty strong and fast, and I don't hold back when it comes to knowing that I can succeed. So I feel like I'm going to let that happen. I also am really keen on making individual connections. So I'm hoping to make those happen as well. And weaknesses is gonna be the puzzles. Like I'm trying, but I don't know. My mind doesn't work in puzzle or math formats. So I know when it comes down, if I make it like far, when it comes down to challenges where you got to race to do this and then do this and then there's a puzzle. I just don't. I don't have much hope in myself, but maybe I'll surprise myself.
Right. And lastly, what do you think this season is going to look like, or what are you possibly expecting to happen?
I am not entirely sure what I expect this season to look like because I haven't watched a full season. Being that it's season 10, maybe there will be newer swaps that haven't occurred before, or kind of more of an old school without swaps. I don't know. I am going in super open-minded, and I'm going to be my bubbly self and hope that whatever comes our way, I will adapt to, which I do pretty well in my real life. So I don't know what to expect, but I'm ready.
Hi, I am Aviva Hamavid. I live in Nashville, Tennessee. I manage an ice cream shop. And I heard about Survival Challenge through friends in the live and online reality game world, dominantly from people who had played season 7, I guess.
Okay. What are you currently doing to prepare yourself for Survival Challenge?
I am not doing enough to prepare myself for a Survival Challenge. I had all these lofty ambitions of like a timeline planned out of how I was going to work on some physical prep and try to work on like running and endurance and strength stuff, and how I was going to block out catching up on watching the older seasons that I hadn't seen yet, and what research I was going to do. And all of that. And then my job situation has gotten really wild in a really good way since March. But like March and April and May and June have been absolutely insane with work. I've been traveling like almost every other week for the past few months. And that has completely overtaken my prep plan. On the other hand, I have sort of unintentionally been practicing some skills that like what I'm currently doing involves a lot of problem solving and making friends, mostly with contractors. So I'm really good at problem solving and making friends. And to be honest, let's just say that that is prep, because quite honestly, it is. If you can problem solve through an unknown situation and kind of roll with something, and you can make friends and get people on your side and convince them to do what you want them to do in a way where they're happy to do it, that's really good prep for Survival Challenge. So I have sort of unintentionally been leaning into that level of prep, and also developing some self-perspective as well. Because when you're like interacting with a ton of new people, you sort of have to take a step back and self-reflect on how you come across. But I am drastically less prepared physically and like specifically research-wise than I thought I would be, especially as someone who really likes to do her homework. I have not been doing my homework, but you know what? Can't change that.
All right. What would you say your strengths and your weaknesses are going to be with respect to Survival Challenge?
I think that strengths-wise, I am decent at most challenges and very good at a lot of puzzle-based and logic-based things, which I think will be helpful. I think I foresee myself being pretty easily able to handle some of the like physical elements and the weather and the lack of food and stuff like that. I have a pretty big history of camping, and I am used to really inconsistent sleep schedules and inconsistent work schedules and accidentally not eating for 20 hours straight anyways. So I am foreseeing that being a strength, that I don't think that that will inhibit me mentally as much as it maybe often does. I think that weaknesses, I am concerned I will be the worst runner on my starting tribe, which I just wanted to not be the worst, and I think I will likely be the worst. But you know what? Again, can't change that in 2 weeks. And I think my other weakness, which I'm hoping I have done enough to mentally prep for, is some impulsivity. I worry that sometimes I can be a little bit too impulsive, and that is a weakness because I'll just overshare too much of what's going on in my head in a way that gives away my game that I don't need to have shared. So I'm worried that that is potentially a weakness, but I'm hoping that awareness of it maybe will help me mitigate it.
Awesome. Okay, and lastly, what do you think this season is going to look like, or what are you possibly expecting to happen?
I think that's hard to gauge. I mean, I know Survival Challenge has done everything from making everyone start completely alone in the woods night one with absolutely no one around, to, no tribes at all in a one world situation that was not quite called one world that no one quite understood, to predetermined tribes, to, schoolyard picks, to whatever. I think that it is likely that there will be some number of tribes to begin with, but there might not. 24 is an abundant number, so there are a lot of different ways one can divide that. Love it from a prior classroom teacher standpoint of you can do lots of different grouping numbers. So I am trying not to think too hard into that. I think, I know there have been various classic challenges that have come in that I think are ones you can kind of rely on. Like I know some of the physical infrastructure is there and is really appealing to use for many challenges. My guess is they're going to do sumo at sea again, because I know John was super psyched that they got that going last year. So I anticipate that will be back. I think Survival Challenge has done early merges and really late merges. Really, the only thing I am assuming is that there will be a tribe phase and a merge phase and a jury vote at the end. And I know better to assume anything else. But I also I think if I had the time to do the homework of actually rewatching the other ones, I might have slightly more gauge on it. My guess is it is more likely than not that there will be CBS survivors playing again. My guess is it is more likely than not that there will be a night tribal in some capacity. My guess is there will be at least one phase where there's some kind of us getting to choose groupings, but I don't know whether that'll be a starting tribe or a swap tribe or a pairs within a who knows what thing. I could see. I'm trying not to meta think this too much with what I know certain people are in favor of or opposed to. I do not foresee there being what Survivor has done with a mergatory deal of not quite a merge. I don't think that they're going to do a Final Four fire making auto thing instead of a Final Four vote. I don't see those things happening. But I feel like you kind of have to be potentially aware of anything. I think there probably will be advantages in the game. That's as far as I've gone on that. They will exist. That's it. That's what I think.
Awesome.
Was that the most ambiguous answer I could have given? Yes.
My name is Sebastian Gomez. They call me Bash. I don't know if I'm going to use that in the game because Sebastian's thing is a little more relatable. I am 51 years old. I'm a professional fire juggler and I own a bar. I think I might keep the fire juggler out of it too. So that's what I do for a living. And then how did I hear about Survival Challenge? I heard about it from William Yelton. He does some CBS Survivor casting and also lives in Wilmington, North Carolina. And then I played Surviving Reelfoot and heard a little bit about it from Megan Chan. And I don't know. I heard really well produced and really fun, fast paced, and the challenges were amazeballs. So I was like, I gotta do this, and so that's how I heard about it.
Nope, you got them all.
Were there more questions I had to answer?
All right. Okay, so next question. What are you currently doing to prepare yourself for Survival Challenge?
What am I doing to prepare myself for Survival Challenge? Oh my God, I knew this was coming up. So I had anticipated, and I can't believe that I'm the only one that's going to say this, but I anticipated going to the gym every day, working out, running cardio, I have done a little bit of puzzle practice, but my house burned down about 1.5 years ago, and I've been rebuilding it myself. So instead of the gym, I'm just working on my house. I'm picking up heavy things, putting down heavy things, military crawling under the house. So that is my workout. Today, I figured I would decide not to eat all day and see how I felt. I've been, well, I haven't been reducing my caffeine intake because I don't want to know how much I have. I would make just a full pot of caffeinated coffee, but my lovely girlfriend of 10 years, Kat, is reducing my caffeine intake, and so I'm trying to reduce the brain fog. So any future contestants, highly recommend it. I actually shouldn't have said that because I plan on playing more of these. What else? I'm watching Survival Challenge, and I'm identifying some unique traits of this particular project. The heavy reliance on challenges, the speed dating, the very short time in between. You don't have that much time to strategize. So that's leading me to believe that I have to think, much farther in advance. I'm also trying to normalize myself because I do not operate I own my own bar. I'm self-employed. I'm a fire performer. I'm from New Jersey, so I have this chip on my shoulder type attitude, but I live in the South, and I just don't really fit in. And I kind of pride myself on it. It makes me, who I am. So when I'm watching past survival challenges, I'm seeing the weirdos getting voted out early. In previous games, I had relied on my uniqueness and was able to dumb myself down, but I'm seeing those people, getting targeted kind of early. So I don't know. I'm still in the process of basically trying to figure out what I'm going to do. I'm weighing whether or not to normalize myself, which is going to make me feel possibly even more inauthentic. People just don't like me sometimes. Like, if you don't like me, you don't like me. I just rub you the wrong way. And, so I guess what I'm doing the most is listening to people longer than I would normally and trying to care a little bit more than because I got a life to lead, man. I got things to do. But I'm trying to remember things that they told me about what their grandmother did or what they do for work, or so I'm just going across the board, a little broad spectrum of everything that I might need. You never know what you're going to need. And so, but I am trying.
Awesome. Great answers. Love that. First time I heard it referred to as speed dating, but that's a good way to and a good analogy between how much time you have and all the conversations you have to have and the strategies. It is like speed dating. It really is. So
I think this is going to be very important.
Yeah.
If I don't,
absolutely.
If I don't, so yeah. All right, where are we going?
All right. Next question. What would you say your strengths and your weaknesses will be in respect to Survival Challenge?
Well, I think I already hit on it earlier with my last comment, but if I had to identify strengths in myself, I would say I don't know when to quit. I will never be out. I have problems with authority. And this is a good thing because I'm going to start over on that one. So
yeah.
one of my big strengths is that I am unique. I hope that I can use this to my advantage, but I have been seeing some of the weirdos get voted out early. So how do I embrace my weirdness to make myself somebody that people are attracted to without alienating them too much and feeling non-relatable? So this is a challenge of mine, and this is one of the reasons that I really love these games, because this is a game of togetherness. Despite all the backstabbing, but I don't really hang out with a lot of people. I don't like a lot of people. So, I'm also a fire performer, so I can put on a character if I have to. If I go into a bachelor party or a religious ceremony, I become a different character. So one of my strengths is definitely going to be reading the room. Another strength is, I don't know, I'm 51. I got some wisdom. You know, I've seen a couple things. I've been around. I know how to build a shelter. I probably won't drive the shelter building because there's somebody else who needs to, you know, show that they are, you know, important and reliable. But I know what's going on. Any more strengths? No, I think that those are the strengths I'm going to rely on. But also, if I had to talk about my weaknesses, the same strengths happen to, you know, ironically be my weaknesses. I am older, and I know that there's people half my age going to be playing this game. And I've already seen a couple times where they make the, you know, young people's alliance, the older people tend to get voted out. So I have strike against me. Again, I have a hard time relating with people. I don't play sports, so I can't talk sports. I'm 51, so I don't know all the new songs, so I can't have a sing along around the campfire. I really hate self-absorbed people, and those are the people you just have to be like, but I just can't do it. So that's going to be a difficulty. What else? Maybe I should take my earrings and nose ring out. I am trying to I am really weighing on normalizing myself for this game. Last game I played, I wore a fireman's jacket to keep warm. I wore a, you know, strategic rain hat, and everybody else was wearing baseball caps. You know, not the best, you know, not the optimal gear for the conditions we're about to go in. So you may, you know, unless you all want me to stay my weird self, I can, you know, I can try that too. But I think this is a game about fitting in, and you know, it's goes against every fiber of my being to fit in, but I'm really going to have to, and it's going to come off ingenuine. So one of my greatest weaknesses is that I'm an individual, and I really don't I don't try to fit in. I prefer playing in hiding in plain sight. This was a 39 or 26 day game, then this would be an optimal strategy because I could, you know, lay low by standing out. But you are just not afforded the time in this game to be able to pull that off. I have to make inroads quick, relate somehow, and, you know, and try to remember what they said, because memory is also not a very big strong point of mine. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm making things up out of thin air all day and creating them and making money off them. Retaining facts, anything with the past, not my forte. I think those are my weaknesses. How'd I do?
All right, you did great.
Sweet.
Loved it. Awesome. Okay, and last question for you. What do you think this season is going to look like, or what are you possibly expecting to happen?
I expect absolutely that in this upcoming season, what do I expect to happen? I don't know. And I'm going in with exactly that mindset. I am not going to plan for, I have the no plan in a way. You know, because I have to put myself in the shoes of production. Hey, you know, you all do this every single year, and you need to keep it interesting for yourselves. You need to try different things. So I will be damned if you don't try something new that nobody expected. So how could I possibly waste my brain energy on trying to, you know, preempt that? I can't. So why bother? I have more important things to do, like catch up on past seasons of surviving Reelfoot, work on this game, the blocks thing. I don't know if it's coming in, but it could. So, Yeah, it doesn't matter. I'm ready for anything.
My name is Beth Herman. I currently live in Longmont, Colorado, and I'm a part-time travel consultant, and I also am a stay-at-home mom most of the time. I have 2 small children, and I found out about Survival Challenge actually through John Vateja. He was a guest on one of the biking trips I was leading in the Caribbean several years ago, and so this has been a long time coming.
So all right. What are you currently doing to prepare yourself for Survival Challenge?
Well, I have 2 kids, so I have the lack of sleep down. That's fine. And I usually I have a workout regimen anyways, but I've been really kind of working on endurance and strength training and that kind of thing. I've started running, which I hate so much. I hate it. But I was like, there's no bike I'm used to biking, and there's probably not going to be a bike at Survival Challenge. So I started running altitude training just by the fact that I live in Colorado. Illinois, it should be easier because it's less elevation. What else have I been doing? I've been doing some puzzles and reading books on just interpersonal communication, which is good for just everyday life, not necessarily Survival Challenge, but I figure some things could help as well.
Okay. What would you say your strength is to be Survival Challenge?
My strength would probably be like just socially appreciating people and not, complaining or criticizing them. I think, and I have no idea. Part of what I'm really excited about, I've never done anything like this before. So I'm excited about the challenges because I've always wanted to partake in things like that. So I don't know if I'll be good or not. Like I could say that I think I will be, but who knows? I think weakness, again, back to not getting rest. I know how it affects your mental capabilities, and I know it's only 4 days, but even one night of not resting can be difficult. So that might be a weakness, and also be like lying to people. I don't know if I can do that. We'll see. I hope I can do it because that's part of the game. But yeah, that might be it.
And lastly, what do you think it might look like? What do you expect to possibly happen?
Oh gosh, I'm expecting, just because I know that the people on the production team are very good at like coming up with these challenges, I'm expecting maybe something that like new puzzles or new something, because we've seen in the past seasons of Survivor that people memorize things that have been done before. So perhaps like using some of the thing, I'm sure they have a warehouse or something where they keep all their stuff, but maybe utilizing those things in a new way and not in a way that's been done before, perhaps. Again, maybe some, I know it's the 10th season, so maybe some kind of twist, again, something brand new. Maybe it's all going to be a flop, maybe it's not, but some brand new things that haven't been done before, either in Survivor or in Survival Challenge.
So I'm Bobby Hall. I'm from Orlando, Florida, where I'm a theme park performer. I actually found out about Survival Challenge on your Facebook post about playing in season 9. And vividly in my head was you guys were on barrels and you had the planks. And I was like, could I do that? There was a genuine question, but I wouldn't be someone to go do an LRG unless I knew someone who did it before. So you.
Awesome. Okay. What are you currently doing to prepare yourself for Survival Challenge?
Right. So I started watching Survival Challenge. Let's start there. Gracie was robbed. And I just, sorry. But that kind of working out, I started doing some push-ups. I just don't want to be the skinny guy. You know what I mean? I'm so worried I'm going to be like, if I'm a dancer, is that athletic or is that seen as weak? So I do want to do just making sure. I've been swimming a lot. That lake looks big. And doing a lot of inner self-work when I'm like feeling low. I don't want this to not be fun. And a huge thing for me is like, you're going to be uncomfortable socially, physically, emotionally, and everything. So I think just being okay with being uncomfortable, and my job has gotten very social and we're talking to a lot of guests now. And so that feels out of the box. So leaning into that and stuff like that. But kind of just covering my bases overall. I kind of just want to go in with the energy of having fun and hoping that that draws people to me in a non-threatening way.
Very good. Awesome. Okay. So what would you say your strengths and your weaknesses are with respect to Survival Challenge?
Right. Oh my gosh. I think I'm really competitive, and I think that's a good thing, right? And I think when we're playing the games in the first day where it's just like back-to-back challenges, challenge, I think I will have a fun, consistent energy. I know I have a lot of energy, but I don't ever feel like I'm that guy who I think my energy brings you up, and I think I will be fun to play with. It's like, how do you seem fun but not threatening when Jam just won? So, I do think you need to balance that. And I do think I have the cutthroat nature that if someone's succeeding, I will want them to fail. And will start the motions against the kings and queens that are there, if it's not me.
All right. Awesome. Okay. And lastly, what do you think this season will look like, and or what are you expecting to possibly happen?
I'm expecting small groups into bigger groups again. I am anticipating something like what happened in season 9, just because that twist seemed to work really good. I also am expecting an early vote out. I think that's going to happen. So I think making sure that you're just not that first person, so you have time to build relationships. And I would love to see like kidnapping. I love China. It's my favorite Survivor season. I would love to see if my tribe loses that I can benefit somehow. I want as much cross-tribal conversations as possible. People loved the Matthew Claire conversation in 44, and I think these super fans are going to want to play, and I think they know that they need to make bonds, because that was a huge thing, again, in season 9. I think people are going to look at the research and go back, and I don't think I'm crazy for thinking that other people are going to be way more into the books than I am. So I'm anticipating people who want to play hard, and then figuring out how to navigate those people.
So my name is Candace Bryant, and I am from Mount Holly, which is a small town right outside of Charlotte, North Carolina. I am an elementary school teacher. I just finished 15 years of teaching, and a mom and a wife. I heard about Survival Challenge because I am a Survivor fanatic and just looking for anything fun that I can get more involved in. And so when I found Survivor Challenge, I was like, yes, absolutely, going for that.
Awesome. Love that. Okay. What are you currently doing to prepare yourself for Survival Challenge?
So I am always preparing for Survival Challenge. I love to do puzzles. Even whether I do puzzles like physical puzzles or even puzzles on my iPad, I'm always doing puzzles. I work out regularly, and I watch tons and tons of Survivor and listen to tons and tons of podcasts about game strategy. So I'm not really doing anything special to prepare for Survival Challenge because I was made for this, and I'm always preparing.
Love that. Awesome. All right. What would you say that your strengths and weaknesses are with respect to Survival Challenge?
So a strength for me in Survival Challenge is people are going to perceive me as one way. Most people, I have a very bubbly, friendly personality, so they're going to assume that's all there is to me. But I'm actually very, words. Okay. All righty. Trying it again. So a strength for me in survival challenge is probably going to be the way people first interpret me. They're going to see that I'm a very bubbly, friendly personality. And so they're going to think that that's all there is to me. But I'm actually a very strategic, scientific, methodic thinking kind of person. And so that's going to catch them by surprise. I'm also a lot stronger and athletic than I actually look. So that will be a big surprise for them. A weakness for me would probably be just my own brain, just my own self, second guessing my own choices. So I'm going to be working on making quick choices and, well, okay. The pressure of being recorded is.
No, it's okay. You're all good. Trust me, I totally get it. You're all good.
I'm going to start with the weakness for me. Or was there enough space? Do you think it will edit?
Yeah. And I will let William know, the one who's editing everything. I'll let him know that, like, with this question, there was, just a couple takes, so that he'll be able to, chop it up. So you're good.
Okay. All righty. So a weakness for me would probably be just my own brain, second guessing myself, being wishy-washy about decisions. So that's actually something I'm working on in my real life, like making a decision that I can be sure about and standing by that decision and being confident about it. So as long as I can bring that into the game, then I'll be golden.
Right, awesome. Okay, and last question. What do you think your season is going to look like, or what are you possibly expecting to happen?
Well, I'm hoping that survival challenges will be full of twists and turns. I know some people complain about the twists and turns and things like that, but I love them. If we can have, the more surprises we can have, the better it's going to be for my game, because as a teacher, I make minute-to-minute decisions every day. And so the more that we can send it in different directions and other people are struggling, I'm going to be more successful.
My name is Champagne. I'm 22 and I live in Macomb, Michigan. I am a full-time student. I'm going for my elementary education degree, and I also nanny, and I am a cocktail waitress. And I heard about Survival Challenge because one of my really good friends, Jordan, played, and she said so much amazing things about it and basically like begged me to apply. So I think I applied like the very last day, like when the deadline was. I literally applied the very last day, and I was like, I'll give it a try, like something I'd be super into. And yeah, I got the call back, so I'm super excited.
Awesome. All right. What are you currently doing to prepare yourself for Survival Challenge?
I would love to lie and say I've been working out and I've been making fire, but I haven't. We have like a couple more days to do that. So in the next few days, I'll prepare. I'm planning on getting like a survival kit from like Walmart. I don't even know, like a flint and a machete. Like, I will make sure before I get on, I at least tried. Like, I will try and try and try. But I haven't made fire yet, but I will. And I'd love to say I've been working out, but I literally haven't gone to the gym in like a year and a half. But I feel like I was like a 3-sport athlete growing up. So like, I'm pretty like naturally athletic. So I feel like as far as like physical stuff goes on, I think I'll be completely fine. Like, I think I'm good.
Awesome. Okay. So what would you say that your strengths and weaknesses will be with respect to Survival Challenge?
Okay. So my strength is 100% gonna be my social game. I am like a social butterfly. I will talk and talk and talk. Not the annoying kind though. Like, I know when to cut myself off, but I love talking to people. I will talk to strangers. I have made strangers become my best friends. Like, that's how I am. I will talk to literally anybody. Everybody loves me. Oh my God, that's so cocky to say. Everybody loves me. So, especially knowing it's only like 5 days or, you know, I will make sure that first impressions are like my number one. I will make sure everybody has a really good impression of me. I will make sure everybody wants to work with me, which will happen. I will be the social butterfly of the season. My strength is also going to be able to form like really like ride or die connections. And from that, I want to have all of the information. I want to hear from every single person's perspective, what they want to do, what their plan is, so I can kind of compare and contrast notes. And then from all the information I'm gathering, I can decide what is best for my game, who I need to cut off, who's a little too close. All the information I will receive, I will have to put into perspective what is best for me. My strategic game, it's going to be very like under the radar. Like I'm not going to be like in your face about it. I think that is so dumb. Naturally, I am like a natural born leader. Like I love taking charge. I like things my way, but I'm not going to put myself in the position where I'm seen as that, because who are the first ones to go? The ones who are the leaders, the ones who are controlling. So I definitely want to like fly under the radar, be the person kind of like in the middle, like strategically be the person in the middle, have all the information, do what's best with my game for that. But yeah, I'm not going to be in your face, but I'm also not going to be a goat either. Like they're not going to be like, oh, Champagne's a goat, let's bring her to the end. Like I will not be a goat. Like I will make sure everything I do is very calculated, very precise. Is that a word? Oh my God, precise. I said precise. Precise. And yeah, physically, I'm definitely not going to be the worst. Like I know I'm not going to be the weak link when it comes to physical. But I'm also not going to be that like mucho guy, you know what I mean? Like that personal trainer. Like I'm not going to be that type either. So I'm not going to be like the worst on my tribe. I'm probably going to be more so towards the better physical players. So yeah, I'll kind of like right in the middle of that. But yeah.
Awesome. Okay, and any weaknesses?
Ooh. None. No, I'm kidding. Weaknesses. Weaknesses. Maybe being a little too trusting of people. I like to think that, you know, I form all of these like ride or die connections, and maybe I would be a little bit too trusting. Maybe like I wouldn't see it coming. Although I'm a very like paranoid player, so I would be paranoid of everyone. But yeah, maybe I feel like my weakness would be trusting people a little bit too much. Just because I'm a very like loyal person, but when it comes time, like you gotta go. You know what I mean? If you're in my way, you gotta go. So I think when it comes down to a point where everyone's got to target each other, I can't be too trusting. I gotta be weary of everyone and not put all my eggs in one basket.
Awesome. Okay, and last question. What do you think your season's going to look like, or what are you possibly expecting to happen?
We're on season 10, so hopefully it's like this big shebang. I'm so excited. Like I wouldn't want to be on 9, wouldn't want to be on 11. Like I want to be on 10. Also, 10 is my lucky number, just saying. So I'm hoping like it's going to be really, really good. I'd love to see some returning players from like Survivor. That would be so cool. And just because it's the 10th season, I feel like there might be some kind of flashbacks from the past season that maybe like come into effect. Maybe, I don't know. But yeah, since it is number 10, I feel like it will be a really good season. In terms of casting, I feel like each season that goes on, more people start applying. So I feel like there will be maybe some more bigger
more strategic, more super fans, if that makes sense. Like, I feel like everyone who comes into this game is going to be a hardcore super fan, because otherwise, why would you apply? So I feel like there's definitely going to be some really big players. I feel like the level of gameplay, I think, is going to be a lot higher than they've ever seen, if that makes sense. Like, I feel like season 10 is going to be really good. Hopefully, no bad blood. Hopefully, I don't know. I don't want to start drama, but like, if I have to, I will. But yeah, I think it's going to be a really good season. I think there's going to be quite a few twists. As long as that does not screw my game, I'm okay with the twists. But yeah, there's definitely going to be idols out there. There's definitely going to be advantages. And yeah, I think it's going to be a really good season.
So my name is Devonte Randolph. I'm 25 years old, and I currently live in Indianapolis, Indiana, from Marion, Indiana, so close proximity. I am a talent acquisition specialist for Shein, and I heard about Survival Challenge from the LRG page on Facebook, and then I heard more from it from my friend Hannah, who works as part of the production team on the crew there. So I've just been watching it a little bit, now hear about it as firsthand experience, and just decided it was my time to play.
Awesome. All right. So next question. What are you currently doing to prepare yourself for Survival Challenge?
So to prepare for Survival Challenge, I naturally run every day, so that's always helping. I do puzzles on my phone, puzzles that I might not be as good at, trying to get those down pat, get some more memory going, get some more repetition going for whatever puzzles I could face in this, and just, you know, being social, being my everyday life, that if like having all these connections with all these various different people will help prepare me for the massive new people that I'll meet and that come from different walks of life, and just to see how I can connect and vibe with them to see who I, you know, want to.
All right. Okay. Should we get you back here before I ask the next question? It froze up a little bit here. Sure, we're good. Okay, cool. I think you're back. Okay. All right. Next question. What are your strengths and weaknesses when with respect to Survival Challenge?
I would feel like my strengths would be my strategic and social game. I am very great at just getting people to listen to me and my ideas, and some sort of manipulation in there, getting them to understand that my plan is the best plan to go. But I do it in a way that has all of my corners covered, so that someone can't look at me and be like, I'm the masterhead, the pinpoint for this decision or for the vote, where at the end of the day, I am the one who threw out the name, who did rally the votes to get that person out. And also, I feel like I do my part when it comes to the physical game. I'm not the best at any aspect of the physical important to have as well. I just know my strengths are going to be in being the villain that I can be, being deceptive, and just getting where I need to get so I can get to the end and win the game. My weaknesses would be jury management, as always. I have a tendency to make a fire, get to the end, and then have people not want to vote me. So I'm hoping I can kind of adapt and manage that in a way where I still did all the power moves that I want to do, but in a way that's respected to the jury and can end with them, you know, giving their votes to me to win.
All right, awesome. All right, and lastly, what do you think this season will look like, or what are you possibly expecting to happen?
So this is season 10, and I know that. So I'm expecting for a season 10 of a LRG as big as Survival Challenge to just be insane in terms of challenges, twists, teams. I'm expecting to see maybe some CBS Survivor legends out there play, and I'm expecting to see some of the biggest challenges that Survival Challenge has probably built or done. And I'm expecting the twist to be all kinds of crazy that I can't even come up with. I don't know if they're adapting from Australian Survivor, if they're doing latest twists like fire tokens and all of that, but I'm just expecting season 10 to be crazy. So it's kind of like I'm coming in with an open mind, but with like an open mind to expect a lot of crazy, if that makes sense. So I'm just excited to get out there and just see what lies ahead, because I know no matter what it is, it's going to be an uphill journey and a battle.
My name is Dan. I am 52 years old. I'm from Southern New Jersey. I am a father of 5, which is my real job. But during the day when I'm forced to go to work, I am a physician assistant in an occupational health clinic. And I first heard of Survival Challenge down at a great organization called Hearts of Reality, which I've attended the last few years. And I met a bunch of the great people from Survival Challenge, and it piqued my interest, and I'm glad I'm here.
Awesome. All right. What are you currently doing to prepare yourself for Survival Challenge?
So to prepare for Survival Challenge, I've been really getting after it physically. I'm up at 5 a.m, working out, stretching, getting my flexibility where I think it needs to be, working on some balance exercises. Also, I've been pretty religious about practicing fire. I'm pretty confident that I can make a fire. I've never tried to do it against someone live, but pretty confident in my ability. And I've been studying Survival Challenge. I've watched every episode. I've taken notes. I have a notebook that's full. So any trivia that may or may not come up about Survival Challenge, I'm pretty confident that I'm ready to field those questions and be successful.
Okay. What would you say your strengths and your weaknesses are going to be with respect to Survival Challenge?
I think my strengths are going to be obviously physically. I consider myself, even though I'm probably going to be the oldest person out there, physically I can match up with just about anybody. So being physically strong and mentally strong, I can tell you this, I'm not the biggest person that's going to be there. I'm not the smartest and I'm not the fastest, but there's not going to be anybody out there that is going to outwork me. So my work ethic is also one of my strengths. It always has been. My weakness, I'm hoping there aren't anybody that has any knowledge or relationships with anyone from before the game that they may know from an online reality game or anything like that, because that would obviously hurt me. Also, swimming. Not my biggest strength, never has been. I almost drowned at a family reunion when I was, 7 or 8 years old. And ever since then, I mean, I can swim, but not real comfortable in the water. And it's never been my strong suit. So I'm hoping there isn't a ton of swimming challenges, that's for sure.
All right. And lastly, what do you think your season is going to look like, or what are you possibly expecting to happen?
Well, I'm expecting my season to be as long as the season is going on. I expect to be there at the end. I expect to win this thing. If I didn't, I wouldn't be wasting my time and anyone else's time. Okay, I've been applying to the Real Survivor literally since 2001. So for me, this is a job interview. I'm out there to prove that I can compete. I can be successful in the survival challenges, physically, mentally, and that my social game will be on point. And this is practice for me. This is the minor leagues, and I want people to see, how did we pass on this guy? How have we missed him? Where's he been? All right, he's ready for big time.
My name is Drew Chrysler. I live in the great state of West Virginia. I think you can see that right behind me here. A city called South Charleston. I'm a judge. I've been an attorney for more years than I want to share with you. For about half my career, I've worked as a judge, and I still do that. And I've been a fan of Survivor forever, but heard about Survival Challenge. Actually, I'm friends with Donathan Hurley on Facebook. I don't know Donathan, but he lives near where I live, and we've communicated some. And he posted a thing about it, which is how I first heard about it and investigated it and applied, and happy to be here.
All right, awesome. Okay, all right, next question. All right, what are you currently doing to prepare for Survival Challenge?
I'm glad you asked. So here's my calendar, which I'm sure you can't read, but I've been, when I got the email on February 24th, I decided right then I was going to do at least one thing every day. So I keep my calendar. So a lot of that's been going to the gym, but it's been, certainly trying to make fire, working puzzles, watching Survivor and watching several seasons of Survival Challenge and some past seasons of Survivor too. There's other stuff on here like making travel arrangements and things like that, but more specifically, listening to the podcast, working on Survivor trivia. I bought myself a Survivor trivia book, and that's pretty much it. Stuff you'd expect, I guess. Trying to imagine different scenarios, especially social scenarios. to work on my social game.
Absolutely. All right. Love that. That's an awesome answer. Okay. Next question. What are your strengths and weaknesses with respect to Survival Challenge?
Well, I think I'm hoping my social game will be a strength because I think a strength of mine is team building. I've been like a camp counselor with high school students every summer since 1981, and I'm kind of well known for building a team with the guys in my cabin and the other folks that I'm working with. And so I really do care about people and enjoy getting to know people, and I'm looking forward to making a lot of friends, and so I really do want to develop relationships, people, which will be genuine relationships, but they'll be genuine relationships in the context of the game. And in the context of the game, of course, not that the relationships aren't real, they are real and they'll be real, and hopefully they'll be real and lasting ones after the game. But obviously the rules of the game allow for deceit and lying and things like playing poker. It's one of the rules of the game. And so I hope that I will be able gently to deconstruct the team and survive.
All right. Very good. Awesome. All right. And last question is going to be, what do you think the season will look like, or what are you possibly expecting to happen?
Well, I might not have answered my weaknesses. I suppose. I think you asked me about my weaknesses too.
Oh, yes, you're so right. We can. Go, it's all right. This gets edited. Go ahead and talk about your weaknesses. Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, first of all, one of my weaknesses is I don't know how old I am. That's a weakness and a strength, I think, because I'm not scared to try anything. I mentioned this business about working with kids at this camp that I work at. In fact, it'll be the week after Survival Challenge. So I hope I'm in good shape to spend a week with 200 high school kids. But for years and years, I led like a nature hike. And about 10 years ago, I got really tired of just saying, there's an oak tree, there's a cardinal. And so with apologies to Bear versus Grills, I started calling it Man versus Wild. And we go the hardest way we can. I mean, we go through mud, we go through quicksand. One year we slid down a mud cliff into the river. We go through briars, where the hardest, we go straight up the hill. The hardest way we can go, we go. And, it's not really dangerous, but it kind of feels dangerous. It kind of feels adventurous. And I mean, that just kind of speaks to who I am. And, so a weakness may be that I may try things, and I'm not talking about physical things. I may take more risks than I should. And I'm talking about all around. I mean, physically, socially, trying to sneak around and find idols and things like that in ways that might be less advantageous for the entire game. So I think I have to really watch that. As far as puzzles are concerned, yeah, I'm pretty good at puzzles. I mean, I'm okay. I don't want to brag too much about it because that'll come back to haunt me maybe. I don't know how I'll do with eating challenges. I have some pretty weird eating things, but I'm not afraid to try anything. So now, what do I expect? Well, first of all, I expect to win. Okay, and I say that sincerely because I think when you come into these things, like years ago, not in my current job, but in one of my previous jobs, I had to run for office. I had to be a politician, which was really kind of weird for me. But what I found out is, when you go into those things, you need to go into those things with the attitude that you're going to win. Certainly that you can win. I mean, I want to be realistic about this. I know there's going to be a bunch of us out there. John keeps talking in the emails about how, unfortunately, a lot of you are going to be eliminated and so on and so forth. And of course, that's true. And obviously, there's luck in it as well. But, if I didn't expect that, that I could win, then I wouldn't approach it in the same way. Now, I think it's going to be a great experience no matter what. I'm looking forward to it tremendously. As far as the specifics are concerned about like being divided into tribes, you know, I mean, I've watched enough seasons of Survivor and Survival Challenge to know that who knows what it's going to be. I mean, I know, you know, your season, you guys were in 4s for such a long time, and you know, when I heard that on the podcast, I thought, wow, that's different and weird, and that's great though. So what I'm looking forward to is some surprises, maybe with regard to tribes, maybe with regard to challenges, maybe with regard to who knows what, and trying to maneuver and navigate those the best I can. It's one of the things that drew me to law, you know, and especially like courtroom work. You know, you don't know what's going to hit you, and sometimes you know you have to think on your feet, and you have to come up with something, and that's the kind of challenge that I enjoy.
My name's Eric. I am from Somerville, Massachusetts. And what do I do for a living? That's a really tough one to answer. I've gone through so many careers in my life, and I'm in the middle of another shift. But right now I'm working at a pickleball bar and restaurant part-time, editing videos, freelancing, and going to grad school for game science and design in the fall. So honestly, ask me again in like a year. I'll have a better answer. All right. Now, how did I hear about Survival Challenge? You know, how could you not hear about Survival Challenge? This is the granddaddy of all live games. And I figured it's time I took my talents here after I just burst onto the scene of LRGs this past year. Couldn't stop hearing about Survival Challenge, looked it up. The challenges look absolutely sick, and it's time to play. That wasn't really an answer to your question, but there you go.
Awesome. All right. So what are you currently doing to prepare yourself for Survival Challenge?
I'm really only doing one thing for preparation, and that's thinking of what my game plan going is. And from my perspective, every game I play, people are terrified of me. They want me out. They won't stop talking about me. I don't know why. So my plan going in, as preparation goes, is I want to start an all-women's alliance. I don't think any guy has ever started an all-women's alliance before, and I'd like to be the first. I realize I won't be a part of this alliance, but I figured the only thing more scary than me in a game like this is like a horde of women that all the other guys think are in an alliance together. So that's my plan. Hopefully get rid of all the guys, make it seem like there's an all-women's alliance, and let the chips fall where they may. Is it a good plan? No, it's not, but it's the only one I got.
What are your strengths and weaknesses with respect to Survival Challenge?
My biggest strength going into Survival Challenge is probably the fact that I can walk and chew gum at the same time. Based on the games that I've played, not many people who sign up for these games can say that. So I imagine the challenges themselves will be pretty easy for me. But however, that's also my main weakness, is that people know that I can do those two things by looking at me. And for some reason, this is very threatening to people in other games. So I don't know, maybe I'll pretend to wear contacts and like lose them in the dirt around the point of the merge. Maybe I'll pretend to throw out my back because I'm getting old. I'm in my 30s. Maybe I'll try to do some of these things to, you know, mitigate that threat level. Or maybe I'll just try to win as many challenges as I can and have myself a hell of a ride. You know, I'm not sure. I'm going to try to do some more serious stuff too. So I think my main strength going into a game like this is I don't take myself seriously. I'm here for the fun of it all. Like, I am out here because I love these shows. I love being on camera. I love playing the game. And it really isn't all about winning. People don't really believe me when I say that, but I'm out here for the fun of it all and to have myself a hell of a time and pretend that I'm like on TV. That's really what I get out of this. And I think that helps. That makes me relax. It makes it very easy for me to coast through the pre-merge of the game. My weakness, though, you know, I thought going into these games I'd be smarter at reading people and getting people to do what I want. But so far, I haven't been able to convince people to take me further than like 7th place in the game. That's my weakness, is getting past that point. I don't think I'm going to do it, but I'm going to try to get there. I see that as being my main weakness, is that no one wants to go to the end with me. I don't know why. It's not even that I'm that likable. It's like this perception thing. Like, they'd probably beat me if they took me to the end. People are kind of crazy. I don't really understand it, Isaiah. One of my biggest strengths playing these games is the same strength that I use on dating apps like Hinge. Be weird, be different, and be vulnerable. I can be all these things. And being a little bit funny sometimes doesn't hurt either. I feel very confident that I'm going to go in, get people to like me, to trust me, and want to work with me in the short term at least. That's the best thing I got going for me.
What do you think this season will look like, or what are you expecting to possibly happen?
I have absolutely no idea what the season's going to look like. I don't know what's going to happen. I'm going to go there, be surprised. And again, hope for the best. That's my strategy. Like, this is what I'm talking about. People overestimate me. I'm not really a threat. And no one's going to see this. And I'm saying it here so that everyone can know for future seasons, I'm not really in it to win it, okay? So I'm here to have a good time. So I'm sure people are out there like planning, oh, what are they going to do this time? I don't even know what they did last time. There's something about currency maybe. I don't know. I'll figure it out as I go, like everything else in life.
My name is Heather Trammell. I'm from Atlanta, Georgia, or just outside of Atlanta, Georgia. I own my own business, so I do online e-commerce sales, clothes, home goods, shoes, all of that good stuff. How did I hear about Survival Challenge? I'm an Adam Klein Survival Challenge girly. I had been in contact with him a little bit just from like application stuff for the CBS show in the past, and he mentioned the Survival Challenge, and I ended up applying for the first time this past year and got cast.
Awesome. All right. What are you currently doing to prepare yourself for Survival Challenge?
So physically, I consider myself somebody that has a pretty good base fitness. So I haven't really been doing anything out of my normal exercise regime to prepare. I have been reading a lot of social psychology books. There's this book called The Like Switch that just talks a lot about mannerisms and like subconscious signals that your body language gives off that I consider myself pretty self-aware, but even I hadn't realized some of the things I picked up just from doing a little bit extra reading. So a little bit of that, obviously fire building. I hiked from Georgia to Maine along the Appalachian trails. So I had lived in the woods for 6 months and I was a little pyro. I love making fire, but I had never used a flint and steel before. So that was pretty interesting, but I think that I have a pretty good handle on it. So we'll see.
Awesome. Okay. What would you say your strengths and weaknesses are with respect to Survival Challenge?
I was actually asked this question in one of my interviews with, oh gosh, who asked me this question? Somebody asked me this question in one of the interviews. And I think I said my physicality and social game would be a strength. But I would have to, I wouldn't call it a weakness, but I say I would have to be okay with not being the leader at all times because I do have a very strong personality. And I think meshing in, even especially in like the opening and middle game sequence of games like these is really important. So I think that may be a weakness of mine, struggling to like gel perfectly with all the different personalities.
Very good. All right. And lastly, what do you think your season is going to look like, or what are you possibly expecting to happen?
So this is season 10, and I don't know if we should expect to see survivors out there, or because this is the 10th season, it may just be, all civilian casts or non-survivor casts, but I'm definitely expecting some big twists and turns, and I have been following the Survival Challenge podcast very closely. So I hear all the little tidbits John's giving us, but not giving us. So I'm definitely ready for anything, but yeah.
My name is Eimer Williams. I am 21 years old and I'm from the amazing city of West Philadelphia. I'm a college student and I also teach elementary school. I've done a lot of student teaching and I just love education. I can't wait to become like an official teacher at my own classroom. I found out about Survival Challenge through Adam Klein and just the Survivor community. I've been a Survivor fan since I was 10 years old. I jump with assignment every time I even hear the word Survivor. I think this might be the reason that I'm single for the rest of my life, but like Survivor literally takes over my entire life. Like I think about Survivor every single day. I would choose Survivor over like in anything, anybody. Like it's actually it probably something that when I start like going to therapy, that's probably going to be something that I talk about to like not be so obsessive over Survivor so much all the time. How to like get rid of that, because I think about Survivor every single day. I can't wait someone to I just love it. Love the game.
Awesome. I love it. I love it so much, honestly, too. Because I can say this because it'll be edited by William, but my boyfriend probably feels the same way about me. He's very, he knows how much Survivor it means to me, but also I've also been able to bring him into it. So I'm sure you might not be single forever. I'm sure you're going to find someone that you're going to be able to bring them into the obsession, because it can happen. He literally, he snapped me the other day. He was like, why am I actively thinking about Australian Survivor? Because we're currently watching Australian Survivor All-Stars. He's like, why am I currently thinking about it? And I'm like, because it's just that kind of show. You can't speak about it. It's so good. All right. Next question. All right. What are you currently doing to prepare for a survival challenge?
To prepare for survival challenge, I've been working out so much. I already started working out. So for about a year, I got into fitness. I lost 47 pounds. And when I applied for survival challenge, I saw the sort of like role that can happen out there. Like it's just almost there. You guys are really, the show is almost this is the closest thing to the real Survivor, right? So I was like, okay, you slim down in there and they need to put on some muscle. And I've been like working out. I got the guns came, I think they developed, they came out. Mentally, I've just been like watching, like mentally and emotionally, I've been watching a lot of Survivor and just like really self-assessing who I am. I've been trying to figure out like I've been asking my friends like, how do I come off? A lot of them have told me that I can have a little bit of an ego. A lot of them told me that I could be a little bit self-centered. I call it confidence now. I didn't grow up with a lot of, I'm talking too fast probably, but I didn't grow up with a lot of confidence, right? So I had a lot of self-esteem issues growing up. Now that I'm at this point in my life where like I'm fit and I finally, think I'm like good looking, like I can't help but like, check myself out and compliment myself. So like, it's like that kind of thing. But I have to like really check myself before I go out there for like the egotistical, self-centered, especially if like my muscles are going to show like that just straight off the bat, like just like my appearance right away. People are going to like be intimidated. So I've been like preparing myself to, just watch how I come off, if that makes sense.
All right. Awesome. Yeah, definitely. Trust me, I totally get that. But hey, we had Dr. Matthew Brinkley on my season, my season, and he had no problem being like, "Yep, y'all see it. It is what it is." So, yeah, trust me, I get that absolutely. But I love hearing that. That's awesome. All right, next question. What are your strengths? What do you think your strengths and weaknesses are with respect to Survival Challenge?
With respect to Survival Challenge, I think that I am going to be able to build really good bonds with people, especially like the moms out there. As a mama's boy myself, like I'm going to find that mom, the one who's out there trying to, trying to like have her own experience, the one that like left the kids at home. I want to be like I want to be the baby or the son to the mom that's out there, because I think that we're really going to gel together and really, take it off. Some things I need to work on is like, I love the game of Survivor so much. I love the game more than I love the show. I want to play the game. Like I care about, if I never make it on like the show, I just want to play the game, which is part of the reason why I'm out here at Survival Challenge, or why I'm going to be playing Survival Challenge. The weakness is that I'm going to be so strategic, like right off the bat. I'm going to want to play the game like Zoom. I'm going to want to be like Shannon, like push my foot on the accelerator real fast. But what's going to happen is people are going to get really intimidated by that, and they're going to want to take me out really early. I do not want to be an early pre-merge group. I want to win the game. I want to go out there and win. So that's going to be my weakness. I want to try to, and I'm not going to be able to help it. I'm not. I want to try my best to sort of like hold it back, but that's going to be my weakness out there, and it just depends on who's out there with me. If I give it up early because of it.
Awesome. Okay, and the last question. What do you think this season will look like, or what are you possibly expecting to happen?
This is season 10, right?
Correct.
This is season 10, right? Something about, we operate on a base 10 number system. The number 10 is just big no matter what, no matter where you go, right? And that's the math nerd in me talking. But like number 10 is just huge. I expect there to be some returning players. I expect it to be maybe a fans versus favorite kind of thing. Maybe some actual like real Survivor alums coming back to play the game. Maybe it's like Survival Challenge versus Survivor. That'd be so that'd be so cool if that was like a thing, like 10 actual Survivor players and then 10 new Survival Challenge players going head to head to see, like, that'd be great. I expect it to be in this new era of Survivor. I expect Survival Challenge to maybe adopt like those new era twists, like the shot in the dark. I expect to see that. I expect to see some like crazy idols. These people, I'm sorry, I'm going on a tangent here, but these people better hope I don't find an idol out there. If I find an idol out there, I'm going to be unstoppable. These people better hope. They're going to have to like, create a Survivor buddy system with me or something, because I'm going to go out there looking for idols, and they really hope, they better hope I don't find one. I can't wait. Like that's what I love about it. I'm sorry, I'm going I'm just so excited. Sorry.
No problem at all. All right, cool. Anything else that you wanted to mention at all before I stop the recording?
I'm going to kick ass in this game.
My name is Jordan Merker. I am I'm 27. I'm turning 28 actually in 8 days. And I live in Washington, D.C. And I work for a nonprofit that does like public higher education in the U.S., Mexico, and Canada. And I do like international engagement for them. So I work a lot with our Canadian and Mexican members. And how did I hear about Survival Challenge? I actually heard about it through one of my good friends who has tried out for it a couple of times, and maybe he shouldn't have told me about it because here I am. But yeah, he told me about it, and I was like, that looks amazing. And threw in an application. I was actually rejected the first time. Oops. But second time's the charm, I guess, in this case.
Very good. Awesome. All right. So what are you currently doing to prepare yourself for Survival Challenge?
Maybe not as much as I should be. But the first thing I did was I went out and I bought a little like magnesium fire starting thing. And so I've been practicing that in my little side yard of my building. With, I would say, like moderate success. I'm tending to do okay. But when I actually like decided to try and turn it into a fire, I created like this huge cloud of smoke that like wafted out into the street, and people were like, what is happening? Like, and so I don't know. I hope that's not like indicative of things to come. But so I've been doing that. And I have also been doing my little like gym boy thing. I've never been much of a gym goer, but I've been kind of doing it this year, sort of in preparation, because I'm really trying to walk that fine line between like, I don't want to show up looking like a toothpick. But at the same time, I also like, I've never been super athletic. So like if I got real jacked and like got voted out for being a physical threat, that would be the worst thing ever in the world to happen to me, because that's like never been the case before ever. I've never had muscles. So I'm really trying to walk that line. I hope I'm doing a decent job. But yeah, just like working on like cardio and stamina. I really don't want to embarrass myself in the challenges. So those are kind of the two big things.
Very good. All right. Okay. So what would you say that your strengths and your weaknesses are going to be with respect to Survival Challenge?
I love this question because it has the potential to make me look really stupid if I get it wrong. But I would say that probably my greatest strength is my like social abilities and like my sort of charisma. That sounds really arrogant to say, but I find that I tend to like connect with people pretty well, and people generally tend to be disarmed around me and kind of trust me and like me, as far as I know. And so I think that's going to work really well for me, especially given kind of the uncomfortable nature of the situation that we'll be in. I hope that my sort of personality and humor and ability to relate to people and things like that will sort of be appreciated by the people I'm out there with. And, you know, also the ability to relate to all different kinds of people. I think I'm really good at like reading sort of what somebody's about, what they might be looking for from me, and then being able to sort of adapt to give that to them. So my sort of intro strategy for day one is really just kind of suss out the situation and kind of see who I'm there with and figure it out from there. part two, weaknesses. I think probably like the most obvious one is that I have never described myself as very outdoorsy. In fact, everybody that I've mentioned to that knows me that I'm doing this is kind of like, you, what? Like you're going to live in the woods for 5 days? Like that doesn't seem like you. And it's not. But just like, I don't know. I've always loved Survivor and wanted to be on Survivor, and that doesn't really make sense with it either. I don't really like being outside. I'm definitely like an indoor guy. So I think that could be a weakness, but I'm hoping I'll be able to kind of adapt through that. You know, I think maybe if there is any other weakness, I'm hoping that there's not. But if there is, it might be sort of that I do have a tendency to get a little bit anxious, like socially, anxious in a social setting. And I think that like in my day-to-day life, it kind of sounds like an oxymoron because I just said that my like greatest strength is my social abilities. But I kind of have that battle going. And I feel like especially in a situation like this that's meant to be an anxiety inducing, that could maybe come out a little bit. So I'm hoping it doesn't trip me up too much.
Awesome. Okay. And lastly, what do you think this season is going to look like, or what are you possibly expecting to happen?
That's really hard. I'll tell you what my worst nightmare would be, and that would be that we show up day one and they're like, surprise, everyone's spending the first night by themselves in the woods. So like, if you want to use that idea for a future season, go ahead, but just not this one. That would be terrible. As far as like what's actually going to happen, I don't know. That's so like, I feel like, you know, it's kind of like the team's job to like come up with twists and whatever sorts of things that like we're not going to be able to necessarily predict. And so I'm hesitant to even guess because I know I'm going to get it wrong. But I imagine that there will certainly be some like twists and turns, maybe some of which we have seen before in Survivor, maybe some of which we haven't seen before. But I'm really excited to find out what they are. I feel like that was kind of a non-answer. Was that like a non-answer? Okay, great. Okay. That's kind of, I'm not going into it with any expectations. Like I said, this goes for both the people I'm with and kind of what the season is going to be about. I'm really going into it with no strategy because I think that the only smart way to play it is to just kind of show up and see what hand you're dealt first and like what the context of the game is and then devise a strategy. You know, that's kind of the way I view it. So I'll just wait and see and then do my best to adapt.
My name is Lon Nichols. I am from McHenry, Illinois. I am self-employed as a handyman. And I heard about Survival Challenge because I have had relatives who have played in Survival Challenge. My son Colin heard about it somewhere online, and he applied for season 6, did not make it, then applied for season 7 and did make it. And then my daughter Grace applied for season 8, made it. I applied for season 9, did not make it. I applied for season 10 and initially did not make it, and just found out that I made it. So with not much time to spare. So that's how I found out about it. Very excited.
All right. Awesome. Okay. So obviously, you know, you just said that you're going to be, you know, you just found out, right? So your time to prepare has been kind of cut short compared to others. Yeah. But your next question, what are you currently doing to prepare yourself for Survival Challenge?
So I literally just found out like a couple days ago, so I haven't had much time to prepare. About the only things that I am doing, I mean, I'm not doing any kind of physical stuff. I do a little stretching here and there, just, you know, try to keep myself in shape. I do play basketball every week, so I'm in okay shape for my age, I guess. About all I'm doing right now is really, I'm looking over the list of the clothing items that I can bring and trying to make sure that I have all the right clothing. I don't think I have a good waterproof jacket, so I got to go find one of those somewhere. And I'm tall, I have long arms, so it's not easy to find one that fits me well. So I got to do that. And then I was thinking about running out and picking up a flint. I would have gotten one earlier, but I didn't know I was going to be on. So I'm hoping like in the next week to be able to try to practice fire making.
All right, awesome. Okay, so what would you say your strengths and weaknesses are going to be with respect to survival challenge?
Oh, let's see. Good question. Strengths and weaknesses. Well, I'm hoping just physically, I can help in some challenges as far as being tall. I am 6'5", so I'm thinking there are some challenges that would come in handy. I know I've seen some challenges in the past that involve stacking blocks up in the air. I think I could help with stuff like that, or just reaching stuff up high. I can help with that. I have watched every season of Survivor since season 1, episode 1. So I'm hoping maybe if there's a Survivor trivia that I might be able to help with that. I think I'm decent at doing puzzles. So, although that's always a scary thing to volunteer to be the puzzle guy. So, as far as weaknesses go, I am praying there's no food eating challenge, because I am a very picky eater. I mean, I don't eat most things that regular people eat all the time. I won't eat. So I'm really scared about the idea of having to be in a food eating challenge at all. In fact, if it's anything spicy, I'm going to have to bow out, because I just can't handle spicy food at all. I'll be crying if I eat spicy food. So. But in maybe endurance things, I don't know if there's going to be something where it's a lot of running and continued running. For short stretches, I'd be fine. But if there's anything endurance, I would question my ability to be able to do that. So.
Okay, and lastly, what do you think this season might look like, or what are you possibly expecting to happen?
I don't know. I got to be honest, because I haven't really had much time to think about it at all. I don't really have any kind of expectations going in. As far as twists go, I wouldn't even try to predict twists and things like that. I was at season 7 when my son played. I was at season 8, and I went just purely as a spectator last year. So I have seen a few of them. So I have kind of an idea of the kind of challenges. I know I'm probably going to have to get in the lake at some point, which I'm also not thrilled about. But other than that, I really don't know. I mean, I have a little expectation for myself, and my thinking is either I'm going to be one of the first boots, or I'm going to make it a long ways in. That's my expectation for me. I figure I'm going to be one of the older people, and I hope I'm not just let's get rid of him because he's the old guy. I'm gonna have to work hard in that first day to get him to believe I'd be a really good person to have in their alliance. So I'm not an early boot, and I think if I can get past the first few, that I can make it pretty far in the game.
My name is Melissa Miller. I currently live in Wilmington, North Carolina, but I'm originally born and raised at the Jersey Shore. I am a hairstylist. And I'm going to have a really boring answer as to how I heard of the survival challenge. It is through Adam Klein.
Awesome. Yeah, that's definitely a common answer for some people is Adam Klein. All right. So what would you say that your strengths and weaknesses will be with respect to survival challenge?
So this is kind of a hard question to answer, like what my strengths and weaknesses would be, because in life, I can tell you what I think I'll do well in and what I won't do well in the game, but I don't know how I'm going to do with no food, no being out in the heat, being exhausted, no sleep. So I think that kind of puts a little bit of a spin on things, but otherwise I think my strengths are going to be, I'm an endurance athlete. So I think the physical challenges, I'll be able to kind of shine, but not shine too much. And I think, my weaknesses, I have a big mouth, and I'm really going to try to tone it down a little bit, because I feel like at first I can be very intimidating. And then eventually people kind of realize that I'm just goofy and fun and want to have fun and be around. So I think for me, I just have to really be careful with when to say stuff and when to not say stuff. That's going to be my weakness for sure.
All right. Awesome. Okay. What are you currently doing to prepare yourself for survival challenge?
So I like to be prepared for everything. The second I got the email, I went out in my backyard with a flint and I started striking that flint right away. So I've been making fire multiple times a week for the last 4 months straight. I made my own like fire making station. I like got dowel rods and boards and I started just I've been making fire for sure because I wasn't going to go out there and have John call me out for not knowing how to make fire. So like I said, I'm an endurance athlete. I already had a Spartan race planned in May, so I've just kind of carried my training on. I watched the challenge too, and Wes told his partner one time, watch all these people. They're all doing all this different stuff to train, and none of them are doing endurance running. And so he said endurance running is really going to get you through a final. And not that survival challenge is the challenge, but it is a mental game. It is a physical game. So I've been trying to just keep my endurance levels up. I also learned how to swim because I didn't know how to swim prior to this. And all y'all's podcasts were like, you got to know how to swim. So I've listened to everyone's podcasts. I'm finishing up season 8's podcast right now. I'm just about done watching the YouTube. I'm watching season 7 on YouTube. And not really to like know what I'm doing when I get out there, but just kind of like to get familiar. I've played 1 or 2 orgs, but I've never done the live reality games. And like, I really don't know what I'm getting myself into, right? So I want to be like somewhat prepared, see a couple familiar faces, not in the game, but like in production or have played previously, just kind of be somewhat familiar with my setting.
Awesome. All right. And lastly, what do you think this season will look like, and what are you possibly expecting to happen?
So this is season 10, right? Like season 10 that's a decade of doing seasons. So production is seasoned at this point, right? They know what they're doing, and Survivor has really like totally evolved from like, just surviving on an island, who can survive people out on an island, to this like new age game. And I feel like Survival Challenge, although very different from Survivor, is still going to kind of take on maybe some of those like twists and advantages. I feel like I love Australian Survivor right now, and their twists and advantages are like so good. So it'd be like super epic if we could do like tribal just stops and we all have to go do a challenging to win immunity or something. I don't know. I love that part of the game. I'm just like twists and turns. I know there can be like over advantages. The one thing I hope that we don't have, and this is my personal preference, is like I hate when all the advantages are like public idols that you have to say a phrase for. Like watch us do that. But like it takes the fun out of someone playing like an epic idol play or an epic steal a vote or anything like that, because everybody knows about it. I know you have to be more strategic that way, but it'd be cool if we had like a couple of hidden gems sprinkled out throughout the woods of Macomb.
My name is Michael Tomlinson. My friends and colleagues call me MT. I go by that. I'm Michael typically. I live in Las Vegas, Nevada, 55 years old. I'm in the digital currency space. So blockchain, crypto, it's probably one of the most powerful technologies invented, at least in our lifetime. And I'm on the front edge of that. I survive. Why I wanted to participate, why I'm here today, is that my daughter participated in season 8. I came out there, we watched, and I just fell in love. I fell in love with John. I fell in love with the crew. I thought that I knew by the end of that trip that this is not just participating in the game is something that I wanted to do, but I wanted to be part of the community. And so when I applied this year and was accepted, I have to tell you, it's like a top 10 moment for me. I have a wonderful wife, wonderful kids, and have an amazing career. But this is just right there, and I've been excited for the last 100 days. So,
awesome, great! I love to hear that. That's awesome. Okay, what are you currently doing to prepare yourself for Survival Challenge?
Wow, is that I okay, here's my secrets. So the moment that I received notification from John that my application had been accepted, I charted out a 90-day plan. The first 30 days, I was going to focus on increasing my strength and endurance. So I put together an actual plan to do both those. The next 30 days was spent on puzzles and getting my mind all, around the things about the possible things that could be thrown in front of me that I have to think through. I've memorized all winners and the locations for all 45 seasons. So those are the things for that next 30 days that I practice. And then this last 30 days have been working through strategy. So I've, I use a lot of in my professional career. So I lead a sales organizations, and I focus on the art of war, game theory, all these things that I'm working on for my strategy side. For these last 30 days have been all about strategy, really trying to prepare myself for all eventualities. I know I can't cover all of them. So set some guideposts for certain situations on how I might handle them and how I might navigate it. I haven't decided even today. I'm not going into this with a predetermined way that I'm going to behave or act, or how the people I'm going to get myself assimilated to, and how I'm going to navigate it. But this last 30 days have been really focused on that.
Good. Awesome. Okay. What would you say that your strengths and weaknesses are going to be with respect to Survival Challenge?
Oh, wow. I think I would put my strengths and my weakness together. My strength and my weaknesses is I love people. I'm and I share that openly about people. And I come from a very diverse family on all race and all sexual orientations, and we're incredibly loving, and that we're all one unit, and that is my strength. So my ability to relate and connect with people. But I think that the advice I've been given by a couple of different people in preparing for this journey is that you better be careful, because you are likable, that people will want you gone very early because they're going to think that you have a connection with everybody. So I'm just trying to think of how I navigate that. How do I be who I am, who loves and connects with people, but yet being able to have that degree of separation so where that doesn't become a liability for me.
Good. Right.
So by the way, this is really cool, but I really feel awkward. So I want your input. This is all done, I so want your input into this thing. So I'm sharing with you parts of this that the only people that I know are my daughter and someone else. So I'm being totally open with this. And,
I love it. No, that's
okay.
what it's for. That's what it's for.
All right.
Okay. And then lastly, it is going to be, what do you think that this season will look like, or what are you possibly expecting to happen?
Wow. So I feel like we're now 2 seasons removed from a couple years removed from COVID. We aren't, but we are. And there's a little bit of time has lapsed in there that I feel like this is going to be, and I'm totally speculating, only just based on coming out there and watching what I have done. Oh, by the way, so that's part of this segment here is my strategy is I'm watching the seasons now that have progressed on YouTube. But I think for this season, I have to believe that they're going to incorporate a little bits and pieces from the season that just passed. I love this season. There's a couple players in there that I think now are some of my all-time favorite players of the seasons that just passed. And I have to believe they might incorporate a piece of that here and there. I love the fake idols that are part of that right now, and how those get brought out and how those can be used. I think they could be used better than that they were in the season that just passed. So that I also, as far as the groupings, the pairings, what to expect, no expectation, not even thinking about it. I don't have any. It's so far out of my ability to think through what could happen there, is that I just haven't spent any time on it, probably won't. Relative again to the idols and clues, it wouldn't surprise me if there's a little bit of everything in there. So I'm trying to be prepared for everything, but prepared for nothing.
My name is Nicole. I am from Minnesota, and I am an elementary school social worker by day. So in my summers, I'm just a mom. How did I hear about Survival Challenge? I heard about Survival Challenge because I'm a huge Survivor fan, and I like to follow the games out there that show passion and really put energy and time into production, like not just a thrown together backyard game. Like I love you have the production team, you have the volunteers who show up with passion, who like their heart is in it just as much as the contestants. So I choose very specifically the games that I want to play, and Survival Challenge was one of them that was high on the list, and never thought I would ever have the opportunity to do it. So very appreciative to be here. Things that I think I'm good at is that I think one thing that Survivor players have a hard time doing is knowing when to shut their mouth. And so one thing I'm really good at is being like, tell me all the information, give me all the goods, but I'm really not good at dishing it back out. So I'm really good at being like, trust me, I'm here. Like, how can I support you? Like, right, you all just want validation and, you want everyone to get to know you, but I want to be the person that they all come to with what should we do, and then be like, oh, like the power of suggestion is amazing. So I think I'm really good at the power of suggestion. Like, well, what do you think about Sam? I noticed you didn't do well. What do you think about that? Like just the power of suggestion. So I'm good at that. Which keeps me behind the scenes. So it makes me a little nervous when you say like we have a dynamic cast, because I am not your like YouTube star who like wants to become famous. I just love the freaking game and I just want to go out and play. So I'm not going to be very good at that part. I do not do well at hiding my facial expressions, so you'll get that drama from me. But other than that, I'm not like your big flashy player. I'm just like here to be like, you're kind of making a fool out of yourself. Like I'm gonna like backhand figure this out without needing the big flashy like moves. Does that make sense? That makes me sound super boring. I totally understand that. I just like, I have like such a love and passion for the game. And so I am strictly here just to play the game. One thing that I'm not good at, I would say, is I don't have age on my side anymore. So that is different for me. I'm used to being like the powerhouse, being able to carry my weight in challenges. And now that I'm older, I notice I'm going to break a freaking hip. Like I can't, my ankles won't do that. Like I'm weak. Like that is really hard for me. And that's like a mental block for me. Also, I am fully aware that I am playing a game that is primarily, it's not intentionally spoken to kids or a younger group, but this is a game that challenges mostly like the 20s and 30-year-olds. So that's going to be a challenge to me to break down those barriers of I am older, I'm female, I'm this Asian, like coming into this random game, like I don't camp. But so breaking down those barriers is a challenge to me, but it's a challenge that I welcome, that I like to do. So that will be a harder spot for me. I won't come in with the drip that the kids have. Like that's not instant for me. Like the vibes, all that shit, like that's learned. Like that was learned. I like had to force myself to say drip. And I know that from like my 10-year-old. So I'm getting like my hip stuff from my 10 and 13-year-old, which probably aren't the best sources. So I am at a disadvantage because of probably my age and just how I look, where I come from. I'm not coming in with the big muscles or like the flashy stuff. So that would be a disadvantage. I don't know what my season's going to look like. I sure to heck hope that however we show up, it's with enthusiasm and it's with pure sheer love for the game and actually for each other. So other than that, do the moves, do the dramatics, do the crying, do the tears, the sweats, I don't care. But just I hope we all show up for like a common passion for the game. And really, I know this sounds super stupid, but I am all about the seasons where they love each other and support each other. Like they hate each other, but they're still like, I want you to do well. So that is what I hope for my season. I hope that we just have a good time and we all share this common passion to go out and play a game in the woods. Like it's so cool.
Awesome. Okay, cool. Well, hey, you answered like most of the questions in one go.
What did I miss?
Yeah, I like that's fine. So the one question that I'm going to ask is, you missed it. I'm going to ask you, what are you currently doing to prepare yourself for Survival Challenge?
So Isaiah, I missed that one because I am not doing anything. I'm like, what should I be doing? Like, what are people doing? Teach me. I'm not doing anything. I'm just mentally preparing myself for this 8-hour solo drive. That's what I'm doing. I'm a firm believer in one step at a time. Like, clearly, yes, I want to win, but in my head, I have to break it down. So like, I just need to not be the first vote out. And then I need to not be the second. Like, I just need to like celebrate these little milestones along the way to eventually end, hopefully, with me sitting at final tribal. But I'm not really doing anything.
That's good. That's fine.
In fact, I would say what I'm doing is I'm intentionally not doing anything because I think that people get too caught up in what they're going to do and they have this plan. And that makes it hard to deviate when you're in the game. Like, I am so like, ignorance is bliss, show up, read the materials on my drive down, like figure it out when I get there.
I am Nina Perel. I'm 24 years old. I live in Boston. I'm a registered nurse. And I heard about Survival Challenge because I got involved in the live reality games last year. And I feel like Survival Challenge was like the game that everyone talked about as being like the game. So I knew I had to apply, and so I did. And some people I had played with in the game that I played last year had played in Survival Challenge.
So very cool, very cool. So you know some alumni, which is cool.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, next question. What are you currently doing to prepare yourself for Survival Challenge?
So I live a very sedentary life besides my job. So I'm trying to get myself off the couch more. Trying to get in a little bit of shape so that I won't be totally winded during challenges. I went camping this past weekend and it was raining the whole time, and I kept reminding myself, like, this is good, this is going to toughen me up, like I need this, because the only game I've played it didn't rain 1 second, and I'm like, I need to be mentally prepared for that, just in case. I also I plan on a couple days before just reviewing my slide puzzle skills. And then I also have a flint that I'm gonna go outside and practice some fire making beforehand. Yeah.
All right. Awesome. Very good. Very good. Okay. What would you say that your strengths or your weaknesses are with respect to Survival Challenge?
I think my strength would be that I think that I will have a good social game, and I can hold myself. I can do pretty well in challenges. I think a weakness is overthinking a lot of things or being left out of major conversations. I feel like sometimes I make good relationships personally, but maybe not like strategic relationships and like good like alliances like that, which is really important. So that's something that I really need to focus on, because I think that's my biggest weakness, is like making sure I'm having like real strategic conversations with people and not just like personal conversations.
All right, awesome. Okay, and lastly, what do you think this season will look like, or what are you expecting to possibly happen?
Well, you can never expect anything, but the only thing I can expect is surprises. Probably my guess is a lot of maybe idols and advantages, and probably some twists. I don't know why, but I have a gut feeling they're going to wake us up in the middle of the night for something. And I'm expecting it to be very intimidating. And to have to like go in the water and swim sucks.
Station, Texas, where it's very hot right now. And I'm the director for a nonprofit that works with college students. So our goal is to just help college students get plugged into godly community whenever they start college. So I get to work with a volunteer staff of 620 college students, and we put on a big retreat for them. So it's a lot of just college student life, which is great. And I found out about it through Callie Bearden, actually, who did last season. So it was like last August, and she said, I heard that you're a big Survivor fan. And I said, I am. And she said, have you ever heard of Survival Challenge? And so it's kind of history from there. I just started learning about it and went online, and I have no history with orgs or LRGs or anything. So I said, let's just give it a shot and go for it. So that's how I found out.
Very nice. Awesome. Okay, so next question. What are you currently doing to prepare yourself for Survival Challenge?
Yeah, I would say a decent amount. I would love if I could do more, but as a dad and husband, 3 kids job, it's a little bit hard to do that. I guess one thing I'd say is I had to learn a lot about Survival Challenge because I had no history or knowledge of it. So I watched seasons 5, 6, and 7 since those are online. I watched all of y'all's season of the live videos online. So that was really fun just to learn. Listened to a lot of the podcasts from this last season of just listening to players talk and give advice. Met up with Callie at one point since we both live in College Station just to kind of hear a little bit more of behind the scenes of what it's like actually being out there. Got connected with Jason as well because I heard he wasn't going to be there this season. And so I asked if I could have permission to talk to somebody else who was in their 40s who did Survival Challenge, and got to talk with him for a little bit, which was great. So really just a lot of like history there to learn that part. I took advantage of a couple moments where the lives showed the puzzles so that I could screenshot them and try to learn them. So that's one of the other things I've done. Beyond that, I stopped biting my nails in case I have to untie knots because I don't know if that's going to happen or not, and I might need them. I have attempted fire a few times. I was successful once, which was great. And since then, it's been very difficult. So, but I got one time, in the bag at least to say that I did that. A little bit of stuff physically, like I do a lot of like quick spurt kind of sports stuff, like volleyball, pickleball, tennis. So just trying to do that a lot because I know that a lot of challenges are kind of like quick stop, those kind of things. So, so that, and then beyond that, I'm reading a book right now, actually, that I didn't realize was going to potentially help me in the game. But it's called The Coaching Habit. And so it's about listening more and asking questions, listening a lot more and asking questions. So just knowing how to ask questions of people, because I could see that really coming into play while I'm out there.
Awesome. All right. What are your strengths and weaknesses with respect to Survival Challenge?
Yeah, I'll start with weaknesses. I know that I'm not going to be the most physically fit person out there, and I am okay with that. If it's going to be a long run, like I heard about the gone fishing thing, that's going to be a struggle. Things like that. So I know that that's going to be hard. I think that doubting myself is probably going to be one of my weaknesses, just questioning if I can do this. I think that's one of the things that I'm going into this reminding myself of a lot is like, you can win, because I need to remind myself of that. But I could see that being a challenge for me and a weakness while I'm out there, is just kind of questioning myself. And then, man, if there's going to be a food challenge, I know I'm done. Like if it's anything eating, I'm a slow chewer. And so it's just going to be the worst. So if it's the team thing, at least I could maybe hide a little bit and blend in there. So I'm kind of hoping for that. If it's individual, I don't know if I'm going to even need to bother. Like I'm going to not do well. Strengths, I feel like socially, that's probably going to be one of my biggest strengths, is just being able to talk to people. And I feel like I have an ability to just really be fascinated with people and listen to their stories and ask questions and just learn about them. And especially with my job working with a lot of younger people. Like I work with people in their 20s. And so I know that my guess is that's more of the crowd just from what I see in history. So just an opportunity to get to interact socially with them, I think is going to be a big strength of mine. Surprisingly, I think there's going to be some strengths that come out when it comes to challenges and things that people might not expect of me. I know I have good balance, and I'm oddly weird at weird stuff, and a lot of challenges are weird. So if you told me to go out and play basketball, I'm going to lose. But the fact that I have to like balance on a board while doing a puzzle and maybe being blindfolded, like I'm going to probably do good at that. So I'm looking forward to that. And then I think strategically, like that's going to be another big advantage of mine while I'm out there.
Nice. All right. And lastly, what do you think this season will possibly look like, or what are you expecting to possibly happen?
I think I'm going in with very little expectations. That's something that I feel like will help me because I don't want to try to overguess at what I think is going to happen. There's a little things where it's like, I know that they didn't do trivia last season, so maybe there's going to be trivia this season. Just trying to think of that kind of stuff. I know that it is season 10, so normally in the history of CBS Survivor, these big round numbers tend to be kind of pinnacle moments. And so I don't know what that means. I think I'm ready for like a half of the people are former players or half of the people are former CBS Survivor players. Like I've just kind of made myself be mentally prepared for that. But I honestly don't have many high expectations right now. I'm trying to keep that low because I would rather go in and just be open to whatever happens and is thrown at me.
My name's Polo. I am from Chicago, Illinois, and I work as a bartender. And I heard about Survival Challenge initially when Adam Klein posted about it on the Survivor subreddit. And this was before I knew about like orgs or like LRGs or anything like that. And so Adam was like, oh, if you ever want to play Survivor but are not waiting to get cast, this is like the closest thing to the actual experience. And as soon as I heard that, I was hooked. And I've been applying ever since. And I'm so happy I get to play this time.
All right. Awesome. Okay. So what are you currently doing to prepare yourself for Survival Challenge?
I'm not doing nearly enough to prepare myself for this season of Survival Challenge, but I am definitely exercising a bit more to get ready for the challenges. I'm intermittent fasting because I'm a big foodie, so I really want to be prepared to not be eating. I don't want to be hangry out there in the forest. And then additionally, I've just been putting myself in more social situations. So walking up to a group of people and starting conversation, because I think when you're out there in the thick of it, you kind of have to not hesitate and be prepared to just talk to anybody and everybody and kind of just like full send it. So I've been doing that a bit more. I told myself I was going to buy a flint and a knife, but I haven't gotten my hands on one. So I'm definitely going to be like kind of naked and afraid out there.
All right. Awesome. Okay. What would you say your strengths and weaknesses are with respect to Survival Challenge?
I'd say my biggest strength is my sociability. I think I'm pretty natural and sociable when it comes to meeting people. I'm really good at making new friends. And I think in a game like Survival Challenge, where you need friends to get far, that's like paramount. And I think just like being friendly makes it so that people want to keep you in the game longer because they enjoy your presence. I don't think I'm one to annoy people right out of the gate and be somebody who doesn't fit in. So that's good. As far as weaknesses go, I don't think I'm the most physical person ever. I definitely like work out, but I'm like a big dude. So anything like having to do with balance or speed, long distance running, like those are not my strong suits. And so I think physicality is probably going to be my weakest point in the game. And then another strength I have is just general like strategic prowess. I think I understand the game pretty well and moves that have been made in the past. And then I'm pretty quick on my feet. And so when you have to make those game time decisions, I'm pretty good at making those on the fly.
All right, perfect. Okay. And lastly, what do you think this season will look like, or what are you possibly expecting to happen?
I haven't really given this a lot of thought, but now that I'm thinking about what's going to happen this season, I could see some tidbits taken from the new era Survivor. So maybe like smaller tribes, more twists, more like unique advantages, like the knowledge is power or bank a vote, like things that haven't even been used in the new era. And that would kind of be, I would be really upset if that happened, because I'm definitely more of a two tribe, like larger tribe kind of person. There's more places to hide. And in the new era, they just make everything harder for no reason. And so I don't want things to be, I know things are going to be hard, but I'd much rather have things like be what I'm used to. Otherwise, I would love to see some Survivor alumni. I'm a cloud chaser. I want to see people that I've seen on my TV screen. And I would instantly, if it was somebody that I liked, I would literally align with them, even if it's against my better interests. So I guess that's one check against me. Otherwise, I would love to see some challenges that are kind of social based. I love like touchy subjects and things where you have to like knock off somebody's like wood or doll or anything like that. I think I'm good at those. I don't want to see anything where I have to like hold myself against two poles or anything like that. I don't know how big your budget is, but nothing like that, because I am literally 260 pounds. And so I don't want to see anything regarding that. I just want a game where my strategy can come to the front and then get me where I need to go, because if I'm going out there, I want to win. So I just want to see Survival Challenge at its best and give me a challenge, but one that I can overcome. Yes.
My name is Shauna. I'm from Minneapolis, Minnesota. I work for a software company. I help our own internal teams adopt new processes and use our internal tools better. And I heard about Survival Challenge on Instagram. Adam Klein had commented about a post and it showed up in my feed. He was talking about what an authentic experience it was. And immediately I was like, what is this? I could possibly play Survivor for real? Like with more than a 0.001% chance of getting to play? Like, that's awesome. So yeah, I went down that rabbit hole like pretty quickly. And then, yeah, now I get to play.
Awesome. Okay. All right. Next question. What are you currently doing to prepare yourself for Survival Challenge?
What am I not doing? No. So what am I doing? I'm definitely practicing fire. I'm going to say this and then I should knock on wood and I won't be able to do it when we're actually out there. But at home, I have like a whole little section outside. I can make fire in about 4 minutes and like actually get it going. So I practice a few times a week with the flint and as long as it's what they sell at like REI and Dick's Sporting Goods, I should be okay. If there's a real machete, we're going to be in trouble. So I'm doing that. I, at home, have historically always practiced a lot of yoga, but I have added in a lot more like HIIT classes so that I can get like the cardio up. But physically, I feel really prepared for that. I have listened to some podcasts for Survival Challenge too. And what's interesting to me is I keep hearing previous contestants talk about, well, when the swimming came up, I didn't want to do that because I don't feel like I'm a good swimmer. I'm a really good swimmer. I grew up swimming, so I'm feeling like that's where I'll be able to step up and hopefully do well in challenges. I feel like everything I say I'm practicing and I'm going to do well is setting myself up to like really fail abysmally in all of those categories. So it's almost like I'm jinxing myself talking about anything I'm preparing for. But gosh, what else? I have a toddler at home, so rewatching seasons is not really in the cards, but I found on YouTube there's a account called Previously on Survivor, and they just go through every single season and air all of the previouslys. So you can watch like a whole season in like 15 minutes and get like the SparkNote recaps. So I've been doing that just so I can cram Survivor information in. That's what I'm doing.
Amazing. I love it. I didn't even know that was a thing. So that's
It's a thing.
All right. Okay. So what would you say your strengths and weaknesses are with respect to Survival Challenge?
So I think my strengths are I feel like physically in pretty good shape. I'm also a forager. Like I've always just really liked foraging. So I'm really excited about that aspect of this too. Like I want to go out there and forage food and do the camping. Like that part of it excites me just as much as the survival, like strategy gameplay. I want to do all of that stuff, like make a little salad from stuff we find out there. I don't know if anybody but me is going to eat it, but like I think I'm going to do well in that aspect. I am a little bit of a social chameleon too, I feel like usually in my job, if we have a client that's in dangerous trouble or something is high stakes, they'll be like, we got to get Shauna out there. She'll like repair this relationship. So I think I like make friends pretty well, generally speaking. The social aspect I'm really excited about, and I think that I will do well with that piece. And yeah, the actual surviving I feel good about. As far as a weakness, I'm also like a very neurotic person. Like I want to pre-plan and micro-plan everything. So I've been telling myself, like, make this experience about having fun, having a great time, like enjoying every moment that you possibly can, because I'm not gonna be able to control what name people write down when they get up there. But if I'm somebody that people want to just have around and play with, I'm hoping that helps keep me alive. But yeah, so being neurotic and being paranoid. I am paranoid about my own paranoia that is going to crop up. I am paranoid myself. So yeah, that's going to be bad.
All right, awesome. And then the last question is going to be, what do you think this season will look like, or what are you possibly expecting to happen?
Okay, so I know it's season 10, so that's got to be something, right? Like, I don't know what that could possibly mean, but maybe something with, God, I don't know. It's an impossible thing to predict. I would love to see some one or some ex-Survivor players out there. I would love to see some returning Survival Challenge players out there. That would be really cool. Yeah, that's what I would like to see.
Hello, my name is Taylor Byerly. I live in Orlando, Florida, and I am a Walt Disney World cast member. And I heard about SC because someone I know named Isaiah happened to be participating in last season and made it pretty far, and I was following along, and it's always been a dream of mine to try and take my Survivor knowledge and apply it to a real world game. So that's I think why I'm here. That's how I ended up doing this thing. Yeah, cool.
Awesome. Okay, I'm gonna move my little thing down here, actually, make sure I'm not breaking my neck every time I'm asking a question. Okay. All right, next question. All right, what are your strengths and weaknesses with respect to the challenge itself?
Okay, strengths and weaknesses. I don't want to say I come from like a theater background, but like I'm a very outgoing personality. So I think a strength is going to be trying to get to know people and making them, just want to work with me and like me. So I think my social skill is going to be hopefully a huge factor, but also it can be a detriment because people usually take those who are socially connected. So trying to find that nice balance in between. When people look at me, they don't look and think someone who might be physically fit, because I am a thicker girl with 3 C's, but I am pretty athletic. I grew up doing all sorts of sports. I was a Division I swimmer. I played competitive paintball. I currently powerlift, and I'm training for a powerlifting competition. So I think I'm pretty well-rounded when it comes to potential challenges that might get thrown my way. I know a weakness is probably going to be stamina. I don't have the greatest stamina. I'm more of like a sprinter, so we're going to have to pace ourselves, especially if we're living off of grains of rice for a few days. And I also just really want to win. So I'm a Leo, so I really don't want to come out like guns blazing. I gotta just kind of keep it like a look at everybody and not put a target on my back right away. So I knowing these things, because I come from also, playing, I'm kind of, I don't want to say I'm a super Survivor fan, but I do love the game Survivor, and I know the online world Survivor because I do play that a lot. So, watching players and what they think and things like that, like I'm always trying to think 3 steps ahead. So I'm going to have to try to keep that like to myself and kind of just act like I'm soaking it all in. So I feel like I answered the question. I'm not too sure. Strengths, weaknesses for SC. Weaknesses, let me think. I don't know. I think also sometimes being a female can be a weakness because I think guys tend to want to band with other guys. And, so trying to break down that stereotype right there. And I'm hoping that there is also a good chunk of diversity, which will, be fun to go into things. So yeah, I think I did that. Yeah, I think so. Great.
Awesome. Okay.
I hope I answered that right.
Oh, yeah, no, you did good. You did good. All right. What do you think this season will look like, or what are you expecting to possibly happen?
Oh gosh. I've been trying to do my homework by watching previous seasons, and I need to do a little bit better because I do a lot of like cutting and skipping ahead to things, particularly, and there is nothing from last season online except I could go to Facebook and go back to the lives, which I was trying to do, and just trying to watch some of the lives from last season and kind of get an idea of what challenges that they introduced. Like last year there was a new challenge, so most likely it will probably be in this season if it went well, which was that like water pushing challenge, and like what are challenges that they do repeatedly. So, and it's season 10, and that's like a staple for a lot of things. When you get to 10, that's a double digit number. So I feel like I can try to prep myself for what they might try to throw at us, but I also feel like it's going to be like all rules are tossed aside because I feel like they're going to make a statement with season 10, and that also worries me going into it. So, I can only prep so much and then just be open to whatever. It could be one of those things like you get there and you're just automatically tossed to the races and you're off and running. So I think I need to work on some puzzles a little bit more, so I might try to do that. But I'm excited. It's going to be exciting. My goal: try to find an idol or an advantage and successfully play something at a tribal and try to make it to merge. Some goals there, so we'll see.